Hello and welcome everyone to Freedom, Not Tyranny. I'm your host, David Torres. This is a show about you, about your rights, your freedom.
Here he was.
A different show. A show about big government versus little government. A show about your Second Amendment rights. A show about your freedom, your rights to vote. A show that involves how to keep yourself independent. Your rights to do what you feel is necessary for you and your family. This is what this show is all about. I hope you enjoy it. Freedom, not tyranny. Welcome everyone to another episode of Freedom, Not Tyranny. I'm your host, David Torres. Today we're going to talk about a few things that might be disturbing to you. So kind of sit back and chill and let's talk about some of these things that are happening around the United States here and how we're being ignored. I mean, literally, we're being ignored with the problems that are going on here and the clowns in Washington. And I can call them clowns because it's like, how many clowns can you fit in Congress and the Senate? You know, that's it. There's nothing else to. That tells you all how many you can fit in there. 400 something, 430, and 100 in the Senate. But let's move on beyond that, because we're going to get into what's happening. Let's get into this because it's going to all tie in little by little. Let's start with, I think it's the border, right? Let's see here. Now, if you see how before the mayor of New York City and the governor of New York City, and the same thing with D.C., they all stood up and said how Sanctuary City was so important and how, you know, they welcome immigrants and they welcome because they should be received with open arms and the whole bit, right? Well, now let's look at the hypocrisy and the bullshit from these two people, okay? Just here alone, all right? Personally, I would be shipping them to Biden's backyard because that's where they need to be. In Biden's backyard. But let's look at this number. Go back to this number, please. Look at this number. Now, this is just an encounter. New York City got 900 plus immigrants bused there. 7,000 went to D.C. Remember, if you Google these two people, they swore up and down, these three people, governors and all, that it was, you know, they welcome immigrants and it was terrible how we would not take them and let them come across the border, blah, 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 blah. Well, now the D.C. mayor wants you to send in the National Guard. They're supposed to be a sanctuary city, but they can't handle it. Now, see the 2,042 plus immigrants that they caught up to? That's 1 month. 1 month. So if you're a sanctuary city, Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, LA, what's the problem? You scream that they have rights. Now you look at these numbers and now you're crawling for, oh, we're spending too much money. Let's look at what they're spending. Let's look at what they're spending. Here's going to be a good number, okay? Now, the cost for housing immigrants in New York City hotel rooms, okay? Check it out. All right? 5,800 rooms, okay? And New York City is spending so far $312 million. All right? All right. Well, what was the problem? When they're coming across Texas and Arizona and all them other places, you don't have a problem with it. There's no extra money. Biden is too busy with Pelosi filling the refrigerator up with ice cream. All right, and he's riding his bike with training wheels around, and on the beach. So if he falls over, he's going to land on sand. That's not really going to hurt him. He probably think he's drowning if he gets wet, but you know how it is. So think about this. You're supposed to be sanctuary city. Now, when Texas asked for the military, that was a problem. When Texas asked for money, that was a problem. They don't close the border, but yet they don't want them to be spread out to the country. But remember, Biden administration, I'm talking about you, dummy. Okay? Biden administration was busing them and flying them in the middle of the night, in the wee hours of the morning, and will send them all over the country. That was not a problem. Everybody was okay with that in the sanctuary city, but now that they're being bussed and everybody could see what's happening, it's a problem. Well, you can't have it two ways. There's a word for that. It's called hypocrisy. I have another word for it, but I don't want to do it because I don't want my producer to throw something at me. So, but check it out. I mean, it's not a joke. I'm laughing because you could tell the hypocrisy here, okay? When you go to bed at night, you close your doors so that nobody comes in. Well, the border, the doors don't have no locks on them, and they took them off the hinges. People just gushing through. And they expect poor Texas, Arizona, and all that to accompany. Now let's talk about where these immigrants are coming from, because they keep telling you that they're coming from Mexico. But they're not only immigrants from Mexico. And by the way, that 2,000 something numbers for last month, you better check this out. 30 of them were people on the terrorist list. Terrorists who vow to blow up the United States. These are terrorist people from the terrorist list that they stopped at the border. It makes you think how many of the people that got past them that they didn't stop. Like all the drugs that are coming across there that isn't getting stopped. Well, same principle, buddy. Let these three get caught so we can get these three over. And if they got a little briefcase and they know how to put some shit together, they can make a bomb. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, because if I tell you, then they blow something up, and Biden's going to send the FBI after me. But let's go on. This is the terrorist list. This is the terrorist list I want you to look at. Okay, south of the border. Now, in Canada, okay? Now, look at all the countries that they're coming from. It's not just Mexico. Mexico just happens to be on the other side of the river, okay? But you got from Guatemala, Honduras, Salvador, Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, Venezuela, Hades, Cuba. Listen, let me tell you something. It doesn't stop there. You got Chinese, and don't forget the terrorist countries that are putting people over the top. So when the Biden administration tells you that this is under control and that the vice president, the czar of the immigration and this border crisis, who has yet to set foot down there properly, has control of this, okay? You got to smell it, dude. You got to smell it. If you don't smell it, you got a problem. Because it's bullshit flowing so much down, it's all over the place. But let's move on. I mean, it's just my advice. Okay? Let's look at it. Let's go into the crime. Now, this is another problem. They're trying to tell you, look at Chicago crime rate. My God. Can you just, guys, just look at the numbers, what's going on and how it's rising, all the way to the point that it's 30-something percent, 50-something percent, 65%. This is not funny. Look at the difference in what's happening, the robberies. This is just one area. When you really start looking at the different areas and the crime that's happening, Philadelphia, forget it. It's all over the place, the crime. Okay? I mean, I think we had one weekend where we had one day that there was no murders. That was shocking. I still think it's a lie. I think somebody's dead somewhere. But let's look at this. Philadelphia is full of crime. Okay? Today, last night, early hours of the morning, kid shot, another passenger. It's a stolen car. He was a minor. I'm not going to say his name because I still think they have to contact family, so I'm not even putting it on the screen. Was caught with an adult. Nothing but drugs in their possession. Okay, and they're trying to find the shooters now. It's just overnight, the things that are going on here. You know, we had cops who just shot and killed, trying to hand in a eviction notice, but they don't want you to do nothing. And it's all over the place. I believe we got something on New York City and Seattle. If you look at this, I want you to see what's happening. This is an area run by the Democratic Party who is supported by the Republican Party because they're both full of shit. Okay? It just so happens that it stinks less from the Republican side. That's all it is. They're both shitting on us. They're both crapping on us. But the Republicans just smell less stomach turning. Okay? But they're both shitting on us. It's all one party. But look at these two jokers, dude. Here's a guy, okay? Look at the arrest schedule. Look at this. In November 2020. In March 2022. June 2022. And again in 2022. I mean, how much do you keep having problems with people, okay, and nothing's done? It's this easy door that revolves. This guy has gone around over and over again. Sometimes it's just hard to explain. Look at the next guy. Just gonna blow you away. Check this guy out. Damn, he actually looks a little bit like me, I think. No? Good, thank God. Okay. Now this guy could be a terrorist. He could have been a terrorist. Iran Floke. I don't know what kind of name Floke is, but look at his rap sheet. Look at his assaults. He was arrested for the murder of a elderly person. Okay? Now look at this rap sheet. Every single time he went in, they let him out. Every single time he went in, they let him out. Our kids are getting abused. Our kids are being assaulted. Seniors are being assaulted. Kids are being solicited. People are being raped. People are being beat up in the streets. They're getting hit with objects. You're walking down the street and some clown comes up behind them and hits them upside the head. If it happens to me, They gotta hope that I hit my head on that floor or that I'm out while they're walking away. Because if they don't, I got a surprise for them. Okay? And it's not gonna make them happy. All right? Look at the crime rate of Philadelphia. Homicide victim is at what? 350. This year. Philadelphia crime rate, 350 people. Just homicide. Nothing else.
We passed last year.
We passed last year's already. We still got a little bit to go. It's happening in every major city. And they're trying to tell you that they've accomplished so much in Washington. They ain't accomplished jack shit. Both parties are allowing certain things to get done to a certain point to distract you. And you know why? Because they want the focus of what's happening. Gasoline prices, food prices, housing is not being built and bought the way it was. It went down 50%. Okay? They want you to buy an electric car that when you look at this bill that Bozo Biden put up and signed, it says you get $4,000, I believe it is, and I'm going to get the bill to put out completely. $4,000 if you buy a used electric car. First of all, I want all you peoples in the inner city to walk outside to your corner mechanics and find out how many of them even know how to fix an electric car. You better have good insurance and some money if there's a short in that car. Because the local people only know how to fix gasoline cars and changing a window that goes up and down with a little button. But a totally electronic car? Nah, he just eliminated a shitload of jobs for people. Okay? And this is what this administration is doing. This is what they're doing. They keep changing the focus about what's happening. We just talked about all the crime. We talked about what's going on at the border. Okay? You've already known over and over again how I told you about the fentanyl, how it's getting here from China to Mexico, and then the cartels are pushing it over here. You know how that's happening. But he won't close that border. There was more fentanyl in certain stops, enough to kill the entire population of the United States. Okay? This is not a joke. We are under attack. We are being attacked by China and Mexico cartels. We're being attacked by them. We are under attack. And we have to wake up and put our foot up some of their asses. Okay? We got to do it. We need a president in there, because I could tell you, if I was president, I know I have to be in the White House and not leave till my term's up, because as soon as I leave, I'm sure somebody's going to try to pop me, because I wouldn't put up with it. Okay? There's no reason why the Republican and the Democratic Party has allowed for us no longer to produce cars the way we used to. We don't produce our own fuel. Pennsylvania alone has enough oil underneath it to survive hundreds of years. We could be oil and gas independent. Okay? And let me tell you how they think that you and I are just total idiots. Okay? I want you to think about this. You have the whole planet, right? And you have countries. Now, they talk about a carbon footprint and climate change. Check this out. It's really not complicated. Okay? It's the whole planet. We all live here. Okay? We all live the same, breathe the same air, drink the same water, survive off of the same ocean. It may have different names, but the shit is all over the place. It's the same thing. It's connected. It's not separate. The planet is not flat and into a bunch of sections with these people smoking all this shit that's coming across the border may think so. It's different. Now they're telling you that we want to worry about climate change here when we have the best technology and the best people to get our gas and drill our oil, and the best way to have the refineries do it with little impact or minimum impact to destroy the environment. But no, Bimbo Biden wants you to be asleep. Because now he goes to China. We're going to be do electronic cars and solar energy, but we don't make the shit here. So it's going to go the cars, 4,000 if it's old, 10,000 you get a break on if it's new. But if you look at the way they word it, it says cars assembled here. That's like you having a big wheel and you read the instructions and you put it together and you have your little brat kid run up and down with the big wheel. You assembled it here, but it's made in China. Same thing that's happening with the electric cars. The solar panels that they're trying to tell you is produced in China. So who's making the money? You got it. China. It's really weird. And now, I'm going to get ready to take a break, but I got to tell you what's happening here, okay? We all breathe the same air, so he's going to Venezuela, who's the worst polluter. China, who's going to have, by next year or 2 years, is going to have more coal mines than the U.S. Okay, we're stopping to produce the coal mines, but they're going to produce more. So it's not affecting the oxygen that we're breathing. Bullshit. It's all the same thing. And let me explain to you, because I'm getting ready to go on a quick break. It's like being in a pool, okay? Everybody gets into the pool. Everybody has the same water, right? Well, when Biden jumps in, the shit flows out of his pamper. And everybody is contaminated with the shit that's floating in the pool. Got it? The oxygen is everybody's problem. The water is everybody's problem. Okay? That's all you have to remember. As soon as Biden jumps in the pool, the shit's going to flow out of his pamper and it's going to contaminate it, or he's going to piss in the pool. It's the same thing that's happening. If you go to Venezuela, who's the most biggest problem with pollution in the oil, and get them to get it for you, it's still contaminating the oxygen and the environment that we live in. It's no different. It's a pool scenario. Okay? Think about that next time you're putting your gas in your car. That why is this idiot making us pay more when we could be paying less by producing our own? Let's go on break. Talk to you guys in a few.
Hey parents, kids like us have a problem, and it's one that you can help solve.
But most parents aren't even aware the problem exists.
Here's the issue. Most schools today aren't teaching young kids some really important concepts, like how the economy works, or what our rights are, or the definition of true laws.
Back before you were born, schools often taught the principles of a free society.
But not anymore. That's why our parents have us read
The
Tuttle Twins. These books teach children about economic and civic truths that we need to learn, and there's nothing else like them in the world.
Each book covers a different topic, helping us learn how the world really works.
For example, these books teach kids things like how the free market is the key to prosperity, the history of the money we use, what our rights are and why we should protect them, how kids can be entrepreneurs.
I definitely want to be my own boss someday, and these books will help.
Kids like us absolutely love these books. Maybe because they don't treat us like little children. Instead, they help us learn important ideas and develop critical thinking skills.
Chances are your kids are missing out on learning these things, especially in a way that's fun and enjoyable for the whole family.
And even better, when you buy this set, you also get the awesome activity workbooks for free.
Now listen, there are a lot of crazy ideas out there, and you need to prepare your kids.
Yeah, if you want to raise a free thinker, you're gonna need something that teaches about freedom.
So purchase your books now.
But be careful, your kids will learn ideas that many adults don't even understand.
It makes for some really interesting dinner conversations. Those kids are cute, but I bet yours are cuter.
And imagine how much they'll enjoy the books. So what are you waiting for? Click the link and grab your set.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. We're here once again to hear me tell you what's going on with the bullshit from Washington. Okay, I must start changing my show to having, I guess, different parts of it for different things, and but it's all coming into the same thing. Two parties, which is really one, and the bullshit from Washington. It's the same thing. So I guess I'll leave it freedom, not tyranny, and run it all through. But after I just left you with the message about the swimming pool and how it relates, if you didn't understand that we all use the same oxygen, etc. Okay? I mean, I'm not going to keep going through these changes. But let's talk about the GOP. Okay? Let's talk about the Democratic Party. And then we'll get into the Republican Party. I want you to see, but I need you to first to see the hypocrisy here, okay? I don't know if everybody remember who John Kerry is, but he's been quiet in the kind of like in the background while he's flying all over the planet, meeting with China, etc., etc., etc. Talk about the environment and blah blah blah, right? And getting this stuff on green energy, okay? He flies around in a private jet. Okay? Now, I need you to listen to me now, okay? He flies around in a private jet, all right? That puts out as much or more pollution, okay, than a 747. But he's going out to talk about the environmental issues and the greenhouse and what we need to do to save ourselves and our planet. And by the way, if you get a chance, look and see what his wife owns and he owns. They have part or they own most of a private jet company. Now, you and me are told that we got to pay more for oil, gasoline, higher food prices, okay, because it's going to help the environment and where we live. But John boy can fly all over the country on your taxpayer dollars. He ain't flying on his. He's got a full credit line, and he flies all over the place, polluting the shit out of what we're supposed to breathe. Okay? And we pay for it. But this is the czar that's supposed to be handling this. It's just like the vice president handling the border situation. Okay? They're treating you like you're an idiot and both parties know this is going on. Nobody's saying anything because he's quiet in the background. Don't forget, he's also getting a salary. And if I ever told you what his salary was, you'll freak out. All right, so let's move on from Kerry. This is part of the bullshit. Okay? Now, we're going to move into here. Okay? GOP, okay, and the Democrats, the power ranking. Now, it's saying basically here that if the election was today, the Republicans would gain back the House and probably the Senate, or maybe even the Senate, okay, by this margin of 187 to 220. Now, you think that's a lot. It really isn't a lot, and it gets closer when it gets closer to the end of November. But I don't want you to get your hopes up too much, because if you don't hold the Republican Party and make them work, it's going to be the same shit for another couple years. Because until we get a Republican president, you're not going to get anything in there. And if they don't like the president that we pick, like our former buddy, then we got another problem. But this is where they're trying to tell you that the Republicans should take back Congress. Should. You never know, how it did, We had the famous Joe Frazier vote here, who's been dead and gone for quite a while, but he voted for Biden. I want to tell you, he came out of that grave, man. He went and got himself a stiff drink, and he voted for Biden and went back to the hole. All right, but, people don't know. But let's move on. So you can see what's happening here. I need you to see what's going on here. Okay, it's just so important for you to understand what's going on. It's really, really super important. Okay, look at Trump. Trump's suing the United States government over the FBI, when they raided his place in Mar-a-Lago. If you listen to CNBC and CNN and, the local stations, they all say, it wasn't a raid. It was a raid. Okay? And every other president before him kept copies of stuff just like he did. But this isn't over. This isn't over because let me explain to you something here. Okay? This isn't over for the simple fact that this is a political move. There's no other reason. Biden is scared shit of Trump running. He's scared. The Democratic Party is scared, and we still even have some Republicans who are scared of him running. Let's face it. So the guy wasn't the prettiest talker in town, neither am I. And the guy tells you black is black, white is white, so do I. Maybe I should run. Oh. But I don't have his money, so I can't do it. And I know that the Republican Party ain't going to support me at all. You would have to have the money to run. But anyway, they've been trying to get rid of this cat for a long time. They tried it with the impeachments. It didn't work. They lied about getting court documents and starting the process for impeachment. The Democrats lied. The FBI lied to the judges. No one went to jail over this. No one had a problem with this. Okay, no one. They've lied. They just had that whole bullshit mini-series that they put together about January 6th. All right? Nothing. No real smoking gun. Okay? Not even a cap gun going. Not even a cap gun. Now they went in with this bogus search of his property, and they've been in there before this over and over again, going through documents and getting information. This is an unlimited search. It's taken away from his Constitution. And let me tell you, if they accomplish to do that with him, they're going to accomplish to do it to normal people like you and me. If we allow this Biden administration and his army that he's formed to do this to him, and it's only being done to him to stop him from running, because Biden doesn't have the cojones. Okay? Trump has big cojones. Cojones are a set of balls. Trump has them. Stands up to anybody. May not be the most elegant, may not be the sweetest talker there is, but he stands up. Okay? And Biden has these little raisin balls. Because he ain't worth shit. Nobody's scared of Biden. The wind knocks him over. Put him on his bike, and the wind blows behind him, he won't be able to keep up with the pedals, spinning by themselves. All right? He ain't nothing. Biden's nothing. He ain't nothing. Democratic Party knows that. They don't even know how they're going to keep him from running in 2024. I would love him to run in 2024. That would be such a gift. Okay? Because you know what? I'm part of the deplorables. Okay? I'm not a total Republican. I consider myself a constitutional Republican. But I'm one of the deplorables. But I ain't one of the stupid ones on the other side. You asked for this clown, you got this clown, and now you're paying more for everything you need. He doesn't pay. He's never paid for his shit. We even pay for the crack his son smokes. We paid for the hookers his son picked up. We paid for it. Ran around in Air Force 2, all around the country, all around the planet, making deals. But let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, so you get to this scale here, you look at this, and it says, all right, on a scale of 1 to 10, are you interested, really, really interested in the midterm elections, right? Democrats? How interested are you? Democrats. 66% of Democrats say, yep, they're interested. Hopefully that 66% woke up and seen his shit floating in the pool. Republicans, 68%. But you know what? You Republicans and Democrats who vote so the Republicans take the House, again, we need to hold these clowns responsible. We need to hold them to what the job is. It's $33 trillion debt. I don't know if half of you that are listening to me know what $1 trillion is. The independents, I love independents. You know why I love independents? Because even when they don't understand, they can see the shit floating in the pool and they get away. So I love independence. Some things that, I can't go independent because, I don't know, maybe in the future I will be. Who knows? But look at some of the other stuff that's going on. Okay, which one is this?
Right now, do you think U.S. is in an economic recession?
Yeah. This is a survey that was done and it asked, how Ed asks people, do you think America is in a recession today? That's 68%.
68.
68% of the people surveyed said yes, they believe we're in a recession today. The only ones that don't believe we're in a recession today are those who are not worried about paying for shit, like everybody in Washington and in Harrisburg. They don't care. Don't worry about it. You think your city council people worry about you going through this? No. You think your governors worry about you? No. Your state reps? No. All they want you to do is keep fighting. While they make believe they're fighting. 68%. 27% said, nah, it's not affecting them. I don't know how it is. That 20% must be the people in Washington. And the ones that are not sure, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell them. I guess they don't go shopping.
It gets better.
It's better though. Check this out. This poll, 71% don't think
The new spending bill.
the new spending bill helps. Okay? It just doesn't help. It's gonna make things worse. Every move this ass does makes it worse for us. Every single move. He has not made one move that didn't cost the taxpayers more. Not one. What else do we got for the people?
The PWC.
The PWC. The PWD is a survey that comes out. Talks about layoffs are in the works. 50% of all.
Respondents are reducing their overhead costs.
Yep. 50% of all respondents are using their overhead costs. 46 are dropping or reducing their spending bonuses. 44% of the people surveyed are rescinding their job offers. This isn't funny. They're not telling you this shit. They're letting you think that everything's okay in America. It's not. We're in trouble. If I was you, I'll figure out how you're going to feed somebody when everything keeps going. All right? Grim job outlook from the PWC. Okay? It's the same thing. 51%, 52%, 44%. You see, they show all these numbers, right? But you didn't hear a lot of comments about this organization. You just didn't hear it. They didn't talk to you about anything. They just, these numbers that are coming out, like they never mentioned, they said, oh my God, we added 5 million jobs. 50 million jobs. What they don't tell you, dumbass, is that those are people trying to go back to work from the ones they closed. And the shops they closed up, some of which are never going to come back when they shut down America. Okay? They're never coming back. Face it. Okay, they're gone. It's over. So you lost a lot of jobs. And then you had 400,000 in July, I believe it was. Was it 400,000? In July, that just gave up their jobs, walked away. Shit wasn't working. Or was paid off. So, you know, they're flip-flopping these numbers around to get over on you. Election is in November. We need to talk about it. We need to get people out there. We got to understand, I don't care who it is. If it's here in Pennsylvania and you got Dr. Oz, if it's here in Pennsylvania and you got Mastriano on the Republican, is it here and you got the Democratic candidates, Doesn't matter. Got to really look and say, are these cats going to really do their job? Because we're in trouble. Philadelphia is in trouble. Pennsylvania is in trouble. This two-party system has got to go. It's got to go, I'm telling you. All right, let's look at this. Freedom, not tyranny. Not my dictator. Why do I say that? All right, let's look at it this way. Give it to them. This is what I consider the IRS. It's no longer the Internal Revenue Service. It's now, to me, the investigating Republican savings. That's what their job is going to be. They hired 87 million or whatever it is, thousand new IRS agents, and they're here to go after the small businesses and the Republicans and find out what their savings are. So from now on, people, when you think about the IRS, I want you to think about what their job is. Don't have them think that they're just going after the 1%, because there ain't that many 1% unless they're going to put, 500 people on one rich cat. All right? It's the IRS. Let's go to the other saying. The FBI. Well, we know that the FBI has been doing some really shitty things lately. I mean, they tried so hard to get rid of Trump, and they kept on. Nobody got in trouble for lying to the court systems. So here's what it is. Not my dictator. To me, the FBI now is not the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It should be considered Führer Biden's Interrogation Unit. That's what the FBI should stand for now, because that's what it's got. The FBI is the arm. It's the what is it, Gestapo? For the Iron Rod, the Gestapo, all dressed in black. Their part, the FBI now belongs, and they are, for all intents and purposes, part of the Democratic Party and the Führer. So when you guys are out there from now on, and you hear the FBI, and when they see this going through on me, they're probably going to come after me, but I really don't give a shit. So remember what the FBI stands for. The FBI has become a force of the Democratic Party. They did it with Obama. They're doing it now. Nothing happened to them when they did it then. Nothing's going to happen to them now, unless when the Republicans stay in the office, that you hold them to their word and you make them find out who, what, and where, and restructure this FBI group. Other than that, you're at the Führer's mercy. And that's where I'm going to leave this for today. I want to say God bless you. God bless America. People, we need God. We need God. We need to get back to the basics, man. Our founding fathers. And you know when they say they were all white people? Well, shit, that's what came over on the boats. White people. So they brought the slaves. It's a whole different episode. Please, pay attention. We're just weeks away from election. And we need this midterm to make a difference. $33 trillion. God bless you. Take care. I'll be praying for you guys. Hello Hello and welcome everyone to Freedom, Not Tyranny. I'm your host, David Torres. This is a show about you, about your rights, your freedom. A different show. A show about big government versus little government. A show about your Second Amendment rights. A show about your freedom, your rights to vote. A show that involves how to keep yourself independent. Your rights to do what you feel is necessary for you and your family. This is what this show is all about. I hope you enjoy it. Freedom, not tyranny.